Hey everybody, this is Mr. Marshall at Stony Lane. I have another decimal game for you. Okay, this is called Hidden Decimals because there are decimals kind of hidden all over the place in math, and you may not realize it. So here's how this goes. Sometimes what you can do is you can change a fraction to a decimal because fractions and decimals do the same thing. They are a way to figure out the part of something. That's all. You just say it differently. It's almost like saying something in two different words or two different languages. Same thing is true. Fractions and decimals do the same thing. They just look different. Okay. And so you and your teacher have probably learned a little bit about what's called converting fractions into decimals. And that's what we're going to practice today, right, during this game. In this game, you need to have a spinner, right? And so if you don't have a spinner, you can click on this and it'll open up an electronic spinner for you. Okay, and that's what that looks like. Okay. Remember, before you start any game, you're going to file, make a copy, the entire presentation, and you're going to go rename it. You're going to change copy of to your first name. It's going to go in my drive. And then you can play right there. Okay. So now I have my game board. I have my spinner, and I'm ready to go. By the way, with any of these games, you can use a spinner instead of a die, and you get more numbers. Okay. But you could play this with a die too, right? It doesn't really matter. So here we go. We're going to use a spinner to create a fraction. We actually have two fractions here, right? So we're going to spin a total of 4 times. So here we go, spin. Let's go, big number, big number, big number. Doesn't really matter if it's a big number or not, but it's just fun. 4. Okay, so I'm going to put a 4 somewhere. Let's see, I'm going to put a 4 on the denominator here. 4. All right, I'm going to spin again. Resume. Spin it. Big number, big number, big number. Oh, a 0. In this game, if you get a 0, that is a wild. So I can choose any number that I want. Cool, right? So I'm going to put the I'm going to put a 1 here. Okay. Let's go. Resume. Spin. And now I got a 3. So I'm going to put the 3 up here. And I'm going to spin one more time. Remember, in these fractions, the bigger number needs to go on the bottom as the denominator. 4. Here we go. 4. So now I have 3/4 and I have 1/4. Okay. So the way that I turn this into a decimal is by dividing the numerator divided by the denominator, and I'm going to use long division for that. Okay. And I'm not going to do that on the computer here because it's kind of hard to do it on the computer here, and you know how to do that on paper. But in the end, this is going to come to be 0.75, 75 hundredths. Okay. And then here, this one is going to be 0.25, 25 hundredths. Okay. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add up my 0.75, my 75 hundredths, and my 25 hundredths. And I'm going to actually end up with, if I add those up, 1. It's a whole. It's like having 3/4 and 1/4. That was just luck, right? So I'm going to write 1. That's my answer. Okay. Write it in words. But let's pretend that it was something a little more difficult. Let's say that it was 1.25. We're making that up. It's totally wrong. We're just making that up. So it'd say 1 and 25 hundredths. Okay. And there I got my answer. Now I make the copy of this file and I play it again. Okay. If you do this, like one way you can change this game is you can spin 4 times. And then once you know all 4 numbers, then you can decide where you put the numbers in those fractions. Okay, that way you can have a little strategy to see, are you going to get a big enough number, like a bigger number, and you could also make sure that you put the denominator as the bigger number and the numerator as the smaller number. You can also play this with a friend and sort of see who gets the bigger answer when you add up in this orange box here. Okay, so there's a couple ways that you can change this. Whatever it is, but in this game, you are converting fractions to decimals and you're adding them up. You're adding decimals up. And if you play with a partner, you're comparing. So you're doing a lot of important fraction work in this game. Okay, thank you. I hope you enjoy this game, and I will see you next time.